All right, so let's get started with our first step, the ask stage. In each of these examples, for each of these steps, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each step in depth, talk about some best practices of how to do this with students, and then in parallel, we're going to look at a classroom example, so you'll be able to see each step in action with a group of students. Our classroom example for this course is a roller coaster challenge completed by some third grade students here in North Carolina in Sand Hills Farm Life Elementary, and led by teacher Kim Colazzo. Now, Kim is a master STEM teacher, and so she allowed us to come into her STEM lab and record this lesson. And we're very grateful for that. And if you want to follow Kim, she's at K Colazzo there on Twitter. So without further ado, let's jump into the ask stage and start talking a little bit about what it looks like. So in this example for the roller coaster challenge, the ask is the question: can you build a successful roller coaster? And that's really the first main part of the ask stage. You want to present the challenge to students simply and have students generate the questions. So the ask phase is all about student questioning. They're asking about what are the materials we're going to use, who can I work with, how much time do I have, what does it need to do at the end, is there something that I need to tape together, can it have a bend in it, can I drop it, can I build it on the floor? All these questions that students ask to really find out and drill down into what is the task at hand. And so this stage is all about student questioning and increasing those student questioning skills. So after you present the task simply and they start asking questions, with your answers you always want to make sure that you're being not quite as helpful as you may normally be. And so don't give away too much with your answers. Don't teach them or tell them how to build things. Allow them to be creative in what they're going to build. Don't be directive in how they're going to put it together or plan to put it together. Just ask the questions at hand and allow them the freedom of building on their own. That way they can experience failure in real time, and it's much more authentic that way. Another piece that we have to make sure of is not to hand out materials yet. The reason for this is because students and adults and really any human, if you hand out materials and you ask this question, people are just going to start building immediately. So students will start building with whatever materials they have in their hands. It's just human nature. That's just what we do. And so it's very important not to do that so that you don't skip these really important steps before the actual create step here on step 4. So don't hand out the materials just yet. Let them wait until it's time to create. Now, early on, the first couple times you do this, you may need to guide students towards some of the right questions. Just to kind of help them uncover that the task is. What the materials are, if they haven't asked about that, if they're asking about time constraints, you want to make sure that they understand each of those core constraints or rules about the task before you get started. And that really is our final point. Clearly outline the constraints so that when they start imagining and planning, they understand the rules that they have to follow within the task. So without further ado, that is the ask stage, just some general ideas of how to make that stage work really well in your classroom. Now let's take a look at Kim's class and see how those students handled it within the classroom.